Please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? 2 weeks ago I made a video titled Bonus Round Added Twitter Bans. It did reasonably well because of one of the people on the thumbnail, somebody I genuinely didn't know anything about. What had happened was they'd made some accusations at another creator called Legal Eagle, and those accusations were baseless. Legal Eagle accepted the apology from iilluminaughtii. This is the creator we're now going to be speaking of. I still don't really know much about iilluminaughtii, and people very kindly in the comments of that video told me this rabbit hole goes a lot further than I believe, and is a lot more controversial. Well, 2 weeks have passed, and I thought perhaps now would be a good time to have a look at this creator, perhaps try and understand why they're so controversial, and see whether or not they're the type to employ some rather bad tactics. Although that is fairly obvious, the answer is yes. The thing that really made me laugh was the cease and desist. Yes, that's something. For someone as large as iilluminaughtii, that is quite the extreme approach to a situation. A bit much, yes. Okay, I'm going to play the clip from the bonus round video first. The reason why is so you can understand what had happened then, and then we're going to look at other things related to this creator, because I think we need as much context as we can get. I noticed a bit of a back and forth between Paige Christie and Nick Diorio concerning iilluminaughtii and a video which referenced, quite a bit, Legal Eagle. Now, the video didn't go down very well clearly because iilluminaughtii had to put out an apology, and did so publicly on Twitter, after having said also an apology in DMs, which they showed in the apology on Twitter as well, this being the apology you see here. Lots of people have said that the apology took too long. My view when it comes to apologies is, if the apology is sincere, it doesn't matter how long it takes. So really, does any of it matter at all? When it comes to how others perceive it, the answer should be no. When it came to Paige Christie and Nick Diorio, it comes down to a bunch of responses. For example, Nick had said, under Paige Christie's tweet, this tweet in question, because it's not a real apology, she's a psychotic freak and a pathological liar. Reply from Paige, why you here? And then blocked. Paige Christie did later on respond to this, in video form I guess, yeah. And I'm not going to play that, because in reality it wasn't the best of responses, to be honest. I though want to go to Legal Eagle, who had actually retweeted iilluminaughtii's apology and said, I think this is a big misunderstanding. Perhaps great minds think alike. No one on my team is trying to copy you. Without an exhaustive review of your channel, I believe we used those 2 stars before your channel did. We've used them for 3 to 4 years. The thread in question goes on for quite some time. Nick Diorio's in there though. She's a snake. Get her. He's everywhere. Does he even make content these days? Does he? I'm actually kind of glad that the issue between Legal Eagle and iilluminaughtii was resolved between them. Others want to throw their weight behind it and try and dissect it, that's fine. But actually the problem was between the two of them over a simple misunderstanding. One that, as you can see, has been resolved. iilluminaughtii is a commentary YouTube channel that exposes people, schemes, creators, businesses basically, and has for a while made long-form content, doing this for a long time, achieving reasonable levels of success, over 1.5 million subscribers, but falling steadily at a rate of around 10,000 subscribers every other day. That's not even a joke, Social Blade would confirm that. The subscriber growth on there has been in the tens of thousands every month for quite some time, for years in fact. It won't be this month. It will be minus at least 150,000. Some have dubbed iilluminaughtii to be another version of Creepshow art. Hopefully by the end of this video we'll know for certain if that is the case or not. iilluminaughtii is very active on platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and obviously YouTube. There are some tweets we're going to look at, but we'll get to those when we have to get to those. iilluminaughtii has maintained a consistent fanbase viewership for a long time. This in turn, if you are a creator like this, invariably leads to a level of arrogance and pride, quite unbecoming of many of us, because that same arrogance will lead you to become things like a hypocrite. and invariably leads to you being accused of abusing those around you closest, working, and maybe even your fan base itself. Maybe Blair, aka iilluminaughtii, should have stuck with the Reddit videos. That said, the documentary style that is entirely scripted is very popular, and there are a few creators that can do it as well as iilluminaughtii, Turkey Tom as well. These types of formats are not the easiest to make, maintain, consistently improve. Yet for a while, that is what has been the case for iilluminaughtii, which has led to massive amounts of growth and success, all of which has been undone and is costing a lot. She's also a pioneer of the anti-MLM genre on YouTube. Anti-MLM is multi-level market. She's very much against that. It's pretty much in the description of her channel page, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, over the years, she has been called out by small creators, but for some odd reason, none of that really amounted to anything, giving off an air of untouchable, invincibleness to the channel of iilluminaughtii. I'm not entirely sure why, to be honest. There have been many creators over the years who have gotten away with doing things that they should not have gotten away with. This, however, isn't the case necessarily with iilluminaughtii, because those fights with small creators can end with iilluminaughtii simply swatting them like a fly. They are to others considered a microbe, a blemish, one that can easily be pushed to her side, a privileged position granted by a golden play button. However, that ended when somebody tried to clart Legal Eagle. The cracks became full-blown fissures, which is where my, let's say, misinterpretation of events for the video clip you saw earlier apply here. So what started this was a tweet on the 20th of April 2023, and I'm having to steal the image, by the way, from Internet Anarchist? Yeah, because Archive his ass and did this. Go subscribe to them, by the way. Not at Legal Eagle editors broaching my editors to take my video style, and when they didn't give up the information, they literally copied it, and by the way, I have the messages from my editors and found an email from them too, just changed the colour from purple to blue, huh? Interesting. Obviously you can't make such an accusation without providing citation, so iilluminaughtii provided a form of citation in another tweet. So I went through my emails and found this just outright saying, yeah, I'm gonna do this, but if you could make it easier for me, I'd appreciate it. Included, hey Blair, I work as an editor for Legal Eagle and I was wondering if there was some After Effects plugin you guys used for things like the intro to the first NFL video, where the lighter colours appear to stick out in 3D. We could recreate it, but we figured there was probably a faster method you guys were using. Here's the video I'm talking about, just so you know what I mean. Video included, thanks, someone called Danny. She also included Discord messages, including that person called Danny. Her tweet reading also went to my Discord server to try and get more to cop the style. Danny MD. Am I allowed to post a video essay I made that was inspired by Blair's channel? Or is there like no self-promotion? Also, is there any way I can talk to one of the video editors? I edit for Legal Eagle and wanted to know how they did a specific effect. Reply, you have to be level 2 to post links. That sounds like shit. Danny, and about talking to the editing team? I've emailed in the past but got no response, so I figured I'd try here. Just a small thing, your tweet gets a lot of views, but sod all interaction. That's really odd engagement levels, I'm just saying. iilluminaughtii then also added examples from Legal Eagle's videos with the alleged copying of format style that apparently she pioneered in her own content. The last tweet from that thread, and to be honest, I wouldn't have believed any of this was trying to replicate my videos if not for the email and Discord stuff that was done preemptive to their video coming out. Talk about, can I copy your hard work? Yeah, but just make it a little different? Shake my head. I just want to make a couple points here. One, there is nothing wrong with creators or editors reaching out to each other to, let's say, help each other. And asking for help, there's nothing wrong with that. No one's going to ask me for help because my style is very easy to do and boring. But if I wanted to learn how to use After Effects, I'm going to, reach out to a creator and learn or find tutorials. It's not rocket science, but some people who use it in their own videos, it'd be easier to reach out to them. If you believe yourself above that kind of working togetherness, well, you are something. Second, the person called Danny. At this point, had it been verified that Danny was someone that worked for Legal Eagle? Because a lot of gravitas was placed on this person being legit. There is, though, something else we need to add, and that concerns another creator from long ago called Tommy C, and iilluminaughtii being accused of copying someone else's style. We have to insert this now because there is a level of irony to it. A creator by the name of Cruel World Happy Mind reached out to Blair to express that she believed her video had been partially copied. This is the DM that was sent by Cruel World Happy Mind. Hey hun, sorry I had to. I don't know if you know of my channel. I'm a really small YouTuber who has been really inspired by the content you make. I got a few messages about the video you posted about Tyra's MLM because I've done a video on that topic. I'm really happy you're spreading more awareness on this topic, but it did low-key feel like a lot of what was said in the beginning of the video was really similar to the things I discussed regarding Tyra's MLM and her controversies, the rabies bit, etc. Coincidences happen, and I'm sure as a large YouTuber you are accused of stealing content from people you've never even heard of or seen before. So I get it if this message comes across that way. With the intention of just being open and honest, I was really hurt by the video though, because you're someone who has really inspired me and the content I make. So I wanted to reach out and hopefully have an honest but positive discussion on it all. Either way, I still appreciate the work you do. So an accusation of plagiarism-ish was levied at iilluminaughtii. The message comes across as in good faith. It is not an attempt to attack. It is not an attempt to besmirch. It is just a case of, can we perhaps have a conversation? Because it does feel like you might have, and I'd like to understand that. Blair, though, being the super professional person that she is, decided not to respond to the message, not to reach out to the creator at all. In fact, she went on a podcast to discuss this. And I'm going to play a clip that I got from SideFXstina's YouTube channel. Link to the video and the channel in the pinned comment down below with all the sources.
Something I recently learned, apparently, is there is this whole anti-MLM community, right? I kind of thought I was on my own little island doing my own thing. Maybe that's my own ego. I don't watch their anti-MLM videos because I don't want to know what other people are saying, or I don't want it influencing what I do. So I purposely like have terms like that blocked from my YouTube, and that kind of stuff can't influence me. What I did have happen though recently, which this is, I'm gonna try and keep it vague so I don't mention this person's channel, but it's a very small YouTuber claiming that I copied her. And she claimed that I copied her video that she had done maybe a couple weeks ago, right? And the video that I had done the topic on was suggested to me multiple times from my comment section. So I just listened to my comments and I made a video because that's what people were interested in my opinion on. So she messages me and she goes, I'm just really disappointed because you're someone I look up to and you copied my video and I want credit. Right? So I didn't know who this person was. So I went to my moderators in my Discord server and I was like, hey, I screenshotted the message, I sent it to them, and I said, do you know, is this a YouTuber? Can you guys like tell me who this is or what they're even talking about? Because I had no idea. They come back to me, it's this small channel.
Which came across as a rather interesting form of revisionist history, especially when you have the screenshot of the DM. How one interprets information is quite telling. Low comprehension appears appropriate here.
We've had an update. Blair has responded to some of the criticism she was getting about Cruel World Happy Minds, who made a critical video about her, generally complaining that Blair I can say outright lied about the contents of a DM, making her out to be a poor researcher, argumentative, accusing her of stealing, and Blair turned around and accused her of subbotting. So we got a hold of that before Cruel Happy Mind decided to take it down under pain of Blair supposedly doing a response video, which would have been really interesting because Blair has yet to address or answer for the fact why did you completely lie about this girl? So Blair found a way to do some damage control.
Eventually, via Twitter and later retweeted by Cruel Happy Mind, Blair put out a thread indicating they had resolved their issues. As far as Tommy C goes, it turns out iilluminaughtii was removing his videos for using her likeness. He discussed this in a stream titled "iilluminaughtii deleted my videos over a fat joke." I don't believe it was even his own fat joke, it was a fat joke from her own video. Not that you can show it, or I can show it in fact, because she has people going around striking if you use anything but the avatar, but then you have to be careful which avatar because apparently you're not allowed to use that either. She has become Muhammad in South Park. I'll link the stream down below because it's an hour and 32 and I can't play the whole thing, but I can play a short clip of it now.
I'll start the story from the beginning, but I'll get the big stuff out of the way first. This was my goodbye. This will play a relevant role in this story. She sent me a video of an arcade where I made a crack. I think you know where this is going. This is great working with you. It's very clear. We've grown in two different directions. I wish you nothing but the best for you, your team, your news, your family. And I wrote, huh? And then I was like, oh, okay, I don't know. Fair enough. Thanks for everything. All the best. And the part of this is the video. At that point, she had actually deleted my get to the point stuff, and the 2 news episodes she did. So she didn't tell me ahead of time. She knew it was wrong because she would have told me if it was right. Now, from what I understand, she unfollowed Augie and spurged in a chat where she basically claimed it was hers, and she had every right to do it. She didn't want him coming up in court because she said she was going to sue Keemstar.
You really shouldn't do that to another person's channel. If you want to remove a video from a channel that does not belong to you, you need to ask the person who owns the channel. That's very important. If my mods ever had the permission to do that on my channel and did it without my knowledge, they wouldn't be a mod anymore. If you do it as a parting shot, it can only be seen as done in bad faith, even with the impending potential LOL suit because Keemstar said you had an STD. Earlier, I played a clip of a podcast where she alluded to the fact that she did not know there was an entire community of anti-MLM creators. I don't think a single person believes that. Some people can pretend they don't know it exists, but it's like Rule 34 at this point. If the idea of it even exists in your mind, it does in fact exist somewhere online. The level of ego just from that one line alone is impressive. I don't know anything about Illuminaughtii, but I knew about anti-MLM content. I'd heard about it. I never watch it knowingly, and I'd heard of it because of little clips here and there that appear just, like when you're in your shorts, it just scrolls, yeah? So don't try and tell me you don't know anything about something, because that is an absolute load of bollocks. Now, rather than stay in this area, I want to now go to Legal Eagle's full response before we proceed with what happened after. Handling of situation is important, and also a great way of demonstrating how clearly different 2 people are. Illuminaughtii, attack. Legal Eagle, defense. Hey Illuminaughtii, I think this is a big misunderstanding. Perhaps great minds think alike. No one on my team is trying to copy you. Without an exhaustive review of your channel, I believe we used those 2 styles before your channel did. We've used them for 3 to 4 years, retweeting a now deleted tweet, which was the one accusing. Plus, the 2 styles, a pseudo paper rip and a highlight, are extremely common on YouTube. The editor you're talking about didn't even design either of those 2 elements. Again, we've used them for 3 to 4 years at this point. Danny is a great and thorough editor. When he reached out via email, he was just hoping to find out what plugin your team used on a particular video, a very common practice among editors. He was not looking to copy anyone's style, so I was right. Danny is also a freelancer who makes his own videos. In the Discord, the video he referenced was about being inspired by your subject matter, not your style. He is a fan of yours. The video he was referencing was a video of his own, not a Legal Eagle video. Here's the end of the Discord chat that Danny provided to me. He was trying to edit a video of his own using only DaVinci Resolve. He was just looking for some technical help and then thanked everyone anyway. Citation provided. YouTube is great because it's collaborative and the rising tide raises all ships. My team and I always try to provide original, high-quality, informative content. We try to help others when they ask for it. There aren't any trade secrets around here. I didn't know that Danny reached out to you, but I don't fault him for doing so. If anything, I think everyone on the platform should be more open and sharing. Anyway, if you feel differently or want to hash it out, my DMs are open. And then you see Nick Diorio, "She's a snake, get her!" Illuminaughtii got a fair amount of flack for all of this. There were many videos made about how she handled the situation and her accusations on the face of it being absolute nonsense. The editing style used isn't uncommon with documentary format anyway. It really isn't. I swear I've seen some of those styles in John Swan videos, and that would be from a few years ago as well. So eventually she on Twitter posted a DM that she had sent to Legal Eagle, closing the matter, tweeting, "To Legal Eagle, although I have apologized privately, I would like to do so now publicly. I am sorry for making editing style claims that were inaccurate. I jumped the gun, thought hastily, and should have messaged you privately to hash things out. I am sorry." The message reads, "I want to reach out and apologize for my tweet yesterday. I was quick to protect my editors when they brought this info to me, and I overreacted. I have deleted the tweets. My archive is forever. Understood. Thanks for the apology and thanks for deleting." Now there's something here that started the ball rolling that caused even more problems for Illuminaughtii, and it's that she threw her team under the bus. So that's where we're going next. People that used to work with Blair include The Click, who had put out a 16-tweet thread discussing why they no longer work with nor associate with Illuminaughtii, stating that I left her and her collaboration group, Sad Milk, due to similar behavior as seen in the recent events. lashing out at friends, fans, paranoia, poor anger management, to name a few. The last meeting I ever had with her, she spent half an hour screaming at me for an array of random things, calling me a bad friend, lazy, and a bunch of random accusations that didn't really have anything to do with me. Quote, "There is no way you can have the resume you claim and be this effing stupid," and so on. No one even raised their voice back at her. I left along with several other members, half the group at the time. She then spent the next few months spreading lies and half-truths about us on the Sad Milk Reddit page. I still have the screenshots. She would turn friends against you, or specifically team up with people she knew didn't like you, so she had allies against you. It's called poisoning the well, rallying mainly banned problematic community members known to be liars and conflict seekers. When people started questioning that maybe she was the reason everyone left, there was very convenient updigging of the 11 to 14-year-old videos of me. Stuff I made back when I started my channel in 2009 when I was a teenager. I publicly owned up to my past mistakes and apologized. She would still harp on about it, ignoring the fact it had already been addressed, trying to direct as much attention to it as possible, publicly stating it was a bad apology along with vague posting about it in comments on the collaboration channel, maybe in an attempt to get people to assume I had been kicked out for poor behaviour rather than leave because of her own behaviour. She also liked to pull what can only be described as a very petty act of revenge. For example, some people left comments on the collaboration channel saying, "Good, that click left." They obviously got ratioed hard as people were there for the creators. She would manually go in and delete the ratioing comments but leave the original hate comment. This was retweeted by Hi I'm Wonder with their own thread. "Forgive me for this being scattered, emotions and all, gotta love 'em." A Sad Milk thread. "After being threatened with a breach for speaking out, I can confirm that the behaviour Blair exhibits is entirely accurate here. I am aware of the bridges I burned and I remain where I am. After Sad Milk split, it was a constant negative echo chamber that I took part in. Regardless, I used to edit for Sad Milk. Blair made no effort to take direction. She made everything about herself. Sad Milk at the time was the nearest thing to a family I had, which sounds pathetic, but the content creator space is a very isolating one. Can confirm. The amount of hours I would spend online making drafts, editor tutorials for new hires, staying up trying to get some editing in if editors were short-handed. I missed Christmas with my brother and father fixing the mistake of the editor she hired, and I didn't even get a thank you, and it took me more than half a month to even get paid. Meanwhile, she delays payments to editors so she can purchase expensive clothes, visit BMW dealerships and spend hundreds on food in a day. While I do hold my beliefs towards certain matters, every month or so there was a new villain of the week, and they would one second be a normal person in our lives and the next second suddenly a hidden monster through, you guessed it, Blair's mouth. To say Sad Milk split on creative differences is a joke, it's a flat out lie. Again, I'm aware of the bridges burned, but I can confirm that call took place where she screamed, cursed and had a meltdown towards not the click and one topic at a time. It was a train wreck. It was just supposed to be a fun group project and we had become profitable, even to a small extent. Blair wanted creative lead, and we went from doing fun creative topics more in line with the Reddit we would all cover on our own channels to doing unenthusiastic view content. Blair took control and wouldn't listen to how the video should be made, and so we got hyper loud music with childlike sprites paired with adult humour, which just made being part of Sad Milk humiliating. My friends and I would watch Sad Milk and laugh, not at the content, but how awful it had become. Not due to anyone not being entertaining, but the lack of quality control. It was an editorial nightmare. It's why in part I stopped editing, because my really well made content got roped into that by proxy. Blair did not care. It was hers, and anyone who dared to try to take the reins was a threat. After Click, OT, and Salty left, I did almost all the heavy lifting, which is a thankless job for being small on the internet. I tried making us schedules, I motivated Blair during another mental breakdown of hers to not delete the channel or the Discord since I actively read through the comments on both, and we had people who were mattered to. After months of being behind the scenes insults towards Click and OT, it became so stale and negative. Yeah, we all took part. But after it got going on so long, it just became day after day. Blair would sit and check Click and OT's social blade. She would make fake accounts to stalk them. I'm getting Creepshow art vibes now. Really strong Creepshow art vibes. Oh, and while we're still with Wonderstruck, courtesy of The Click, during the whole debacle, Wonderstruck lost his silver play button because it was in a car that they were using with Blair, and Blair took the car back with the button inside it and then just threw it away. I mean, it's good you can pay for another one, but Blair should pay for that, to be honest. The next person to speak out was Oz Media, who also put out a rather lengthy Twitter thread that we're going to read through before we get to iilluminaughtii's response. Oh, and honourable mention to this, it's interesting. I think it's time I actually speak out on the current Twitter threads regarding Sad Milk. I cannot express how scared I am to do this, the fear I have in my gut to even speak out. However, I do feel it's important to say my piece on this subject matter, i.e., yeah, it's a mess, but the tweet threads posted by Wonder and Click and what they have stated about Sad Milk is the truth. The whole project was a mess from start to finish. I really wish I didn't need to do this, but with the flurry of DMs I've been getting, I don't have a choice. Blair, I'm sorry, but you have hurt me. I need to speak without being told by you, oh, I'm just the villain, I'm always in the wrong, or something along those lines. Words I have heard from you consistently. I want to be heard for once. I need to clear my mind and conscience after holding this in for 2 years. Forgive me, but it's what needs to be done. When looking at the whole project, it was mostly controlled and run by Blair. Her main worry was that because of her, in her words, lack of personality, she felt as though her contribution to Sad Milk needed to be the managerial bureaucracy behind the scenes to justify her presence. This led to a defensive approach when anyone would attempt to assist with the nitty-gritty behind the scenes. Blair was indeed the aggressor. She always has been. As an example of this behavior, look at the Legal Eagle situation. Blair has the habit of starting fights but will almost never publicly apologize if proven wrong. She will instead hide behind a private apology, and from my perspective act as though this makes everything better. After all, she would express to me that admitting error would only make her look stupid and weak. A fundamental misunderstanding on how an apology works, especially on the internet. This will be followed by her blocking people on Twitter, silencing her detractors through YouTube channel bans, deleting comments and putting her accounts on the down low to prevent interaction. For example, on Sad Milk she would blacklist former collaborators from being mentioned, but manually approve hateful comments towards them which in my opinion were specifically ones which instead praised her or the remaining members, including me. This is her MO. It has been for the 4 years that I've known her. It actually perfectly ties into how we first met, and began to be on speaking terms in April of 2019. Sad Milk was very much like this. At the first sign of dissonance, her response was to have me confront OT and Click with this list of talking points in an attempt to show them just how wrong they were, which I accepted. This brings me to, well, me. What is missing from both Click and Wonder's threads is the fact that I acted as Blair's front runner. Anything Blair needed to say went through me first, essentially act as a spokesman. This was actually a common factor in our relationship. I would always act as a filter to keep her out of drama, or from saying things that would be seen as offensive or kindle for a larger fire. I stopped doing this in January. This does not excuse me from protecting her for this long, but it is the truth. I could take the approach and say I was manipulated, which perhaps I was, but I still knew that I was doing wrong. I always did, and it always hurt. It left a huge black mark on my spirit and my ability to feel comfortable in my own skin. With the exception of the Clicks, the other tweet threads came out in April. Effectively, there is a gap of 1 month between iilluminaughtii's response to Wonderstruck and Oz Media. During that time, that is why she lost so many subs, because she took too long to get to this, to finally tackle it. Burying the head in the sand tactic doesn't work. Focusing on your content when your views go down doesn't help either. It was during that time as well more videos came out. Tommy C put out a 20-minute statement directly aimed at Illuminaughtii. It was very good. I'll link it down below. And it was arguably a very fair response. Illuminaughtii's response though, a tweet thread. Not as long as the others, but we'll get to that. Hey everyone. I'm fully aware of the recent false allegations that have surfaced. I want to take a moment to publicly state that I'm taking these allegations serially, and I am committed to rectifying this situation promptly and appropriately. I understand the concerns and potential impact that these false allegations have caused. My team and I are actively working behind the scenes to gather all relevant facts. I am committed to transparency and accountability throughout this process. Rest assured that I am taking decisive action to address the situation. I will provide updates and communicate any necessary actions as soon as possible. Thank you to those who are standing by me during this challenging time. I will not allow these false allegations to be weaponized as a way to silence my voice. There's some irony there, we'll get to it in a moment. I appreciate your patience and understanding during this challenging time. I am dedicated to upholding my channel's values and delivering on our commitments. I am confident that the truth will prevail. Sincerely, Blair Zon. Your tweets got sod all interaction. I just don't get it. I really don't. Was a sarcasm sign required? All this response needed next was, we wish you well in your future endeavors, and it would have been a perfect copy, cut, paste of WWE's typical crap when they cut new wrestlers and old wrestlers. It was very official, very middle of the road, not giving too much of an opinion other than to say, everything said by what we have read through so far is a lie. As you can see, by the way, from this Social Blade image, she still lost 10,000 subs, so it didn't go down very well. So what was it that Illuminaughtii was doing? Well, taking accountability? No. Hi, I'm Wonder. Blair just sent me a cease and desist for speaking out against her abuse. Wonder made a video. Reply from the Click. English isn't my first language, but this is an odd translation of taking accountability. Oz Media retweeted a tweet that I didn't include in the previous thread of theirs. Their original tweet was, Blair, I need you to know that you hurt me more than you realize. I know you're scanning this and having your team read over it, maybe even looking at sending a legal threat. Retweet, call me Nostradamus because hot damn. Underneath including the cease and desist sent to I'm Wonder. It's not a good look, is it? You want to be heard, but you don't want anyone else to be heard. You see the irony in that, right? When I mentioned it earlier? This isn't a good look for iilluminaughtii in the slightest. It makes you look like a bitch. This could have been resolved behind closed doors, a simple discussion privately, but you have been shown to be a bully, and now you're using the legal system to bully detractors. Cease and desist? Wow. You put out a community post, by the way, it was the exact same thing as your Twitter thread. Yeah, I don't care how many likes you got, really don't. Mostly because the replies to it are annihilating you. You say transparency? What transparency is there in a cease and desist? Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking back at iilluminaughtii because it turns out she's still a colossal moron. Yes, the first video did so well, Law of Diminishing Returns will be in full effect. That doesn't matter because the update is what really matters, and she's quite precious. In the I can't believe it's not butter way, just replace butter with dumber. So since I dropped my video on her about a week and a bit ago, she has continued to hemorrhage subscribers. 10,000 every 2 days? Yeah, 3, whatever. There's a 2-day gap between most of it here. You see the Social Blade? It's not looking so good right now. Her video views have also been hemorrhaging quite severely. This is a downfall I haven't seen since Deaf Noodles. Prior to Deaf Noodles, it was Creepshow Art. But if you remove Deaf Noodles, we have Creepshow Art 2.0 here, for almost the same reasons. The behavior is beyond catty, and is incredibly manipulative. iilluminaughtii can be considered the queen of gaslighting at this point, and it is for the sake of her channel's future, if she wants to have a future on YouTube in the first place, important that she stop doing what she is doing. If you'd like a refresher, you will find most within commentary have covered iilluminaughtii in some way. Some have done dozens of videos on this because apparently less is more as a novel concept to them. On this channel, just one. There was something I left out of it, by the way, and I'm going to mention it now. Wonderstruck Guy has been very open and honest about their mental health, thoughts of unalive, and iilluminaughtii spoke about it without permission, spoke intimately about it without permission. Now I didn't mention it because if I had in the first video, it would have been demonetized. Shitty behavior like that, a level of entitlement to speak on other people's concerns and problems, is levels beyond unacceptable. But then when you consider, when you've built a career the way that iilluminaughtii has, and then to find that behind the curtain it wasn't built the way we thought it was, but entirely built off lies, and essentially peer pressure, you realize that the character of iilluminaughtii is just that, because the real person is a massive plonker. As one update, since this all happened, iilluminaughtii has barely been active on Twitter, with the last tweet being a Twitter statement on May the 26th, which we covered near the end of the first video. But iilluminaughtii has been active on YouTube, almost acting as if nothing is happening unless these videos were made ahead of time, which I'm inclined to believe. Since people do help work on these videos, there is some sense to it. And I have no doubt in my mind those that work on those videos are hardly going to be impressed when their pay packets get smaller, significantly smaller, unless they're paid a fixed rate, of course. I guess it depends on the deal you have in place. It's okay, I barely pay myself anything because I barely make anything. Is that self-deprecating enough? So to the first update. A number of people who had worked with Blair in the past have been hit with cease and desists. This was something we spoke about in the first video. Hi, I'm Wonder on Twitter, Wonderstruck YouTube, link to the tweet down below, and their channel as well, had set up a GoFundMe and said, hey everyone, the GoFundMe has reached over 12,000. I just wanted to say that I'm beyond grateful for your kindness and generosity throughout this. I feel truly undeserving. Please be well, I love you guys. At time of recording, it has received 696 donations and is now nearer to $18,000. I'm going to link it down below if you are at all interested in supporting legal fees for Wonder. A channel by the name of One Topic at a Time produced a video speaking about Sad Milk and iilluminaughtii, because it turns out this creator had worked with iilluminaughtii as well, and in a 26-minute video absolutely reamed Blair for this. and I'm going to link the video down below, but also play a couple clips now.
It made me uncomfortable to hear words or intentions put in my mouth regarding the group call whose framing in the video does not comport with reality. The retelling of how our group conversation went and using it as a way to frame the situation as Click not actioning soon enough or responding timely is simply a lie. I was spending time with Human 1 before she had to be ready for work when I got the DMs. The one-on-one call was more to check in on, do you think he would support this person's behavior? And I said no, but that we should really be talking to him directly about this. I didn't call a specific meeting. Click did express the importance of having one to clear the air about what we all found stressful and how to solve for it, something he and I had talked about, but we didn't call a meeting. He and I had actually scheduled time off for us to catch up on our workload and just spend time away from the project, and when we were told the meeting was to take place, it was during that time off that we had scheduled, and what was said to me was quoted more accurately in Wonder's video.
I have taken this last week to think things through thoroughly and realized during the past time, and especially during the Monday meeting, that a lot of priorities and ideas for Sad Milk have shifted. My voice is still buttery smooth, but instead of butter, it's slime.
Oh God. iilluminaughtii is correct that she did not speak to me after the meeting, not since 2020. Click was right that we didn't want to weigh in on things at the time because speaking towards any of this was clearly seen as antagonistic or threatening, and we just wanted to give everyone the space to move on. We were proud to be your friends, and for so long we gave you everything we were able to. But when we explained our boundaries, it just wasn't good enough. That kind of resentment builds up.
A YouTuber by the name of Swoop, or Spanky Swoop Valentine on Twitter, tweeted, "My edit so far on the iilluminaughtii doc is a beast. I will be sharing a bombshell exclusive interview with someone whose involvement and story has yet to be told. My doc will be posted tomorrow or Tuesday, brace yourselves." The video in question is called The End of iilluminaughtii. She has always been this way, the lies everyone missed in the downfall. She interviewed iilluminauttii's ex-boyfriend. The ex-boyfriend's name is Azothan. What he alleges is apparently quite shocking. In the video, this is discussed at around 1 hour 13 minutes into a 2 hour 23-minute video. I'm going to play a very, very short clip of that, but advise you watch the full video to get the full context.
We have someone else in this story that we need to hear from, whose story hasn't been heard in this recent scandal at all.
iilluminaughtii is aware of how toxic and morally reprehensible these actions are, and has attempted to remove evidence from the internet by deleting her tweets and even editing down the private messages with other users in which she engages in these behaviors of bullying, threatening, to publicly ruin the images of people simply for disagreeing with her. All of these issues and behaviors stated here were just from the idea that someone might call her out, and I fear what might come afterwards.
So from the outside, that clip sounds like some random commentary channel talking about the current iilluminaughtii controversy about Blair's pattern of behavior, her alleged abuse, her alleged paranoia, and providing their thoughts on it, right? Except this video was posted over 4 years ago. This is Blair's ex-boyfriend.
It speaks volumes about the nature of the fear factor involved, that many refused to speak out until the straw finally broke that camel's back, until iilluminaughtii made one mistake too many. Within that video from Swoop, it was pointed out, and many other videos had as well, iilluminaughtii had been called out by smaller creators over years. Point mentioned by One Topic at a time was that iilluminaughtii would punch down, go after them and bully them off the internet if she could, because why address legit concern that they raise, they highlight, and many of them were correct by the way, about the gaslighting, the ad homs, the fallacies, the straw, all the buzzwords basically, the manipulative behavior, the bullying, which by the way, it is exactly that, using the weight of your own success to silence detractors. Quite cowardly, I will admit. If we creators get complaints from smaller creators who have less subscribers than us, does it mean the smaller channel is wrong? No. Should we, as bigger creators, you a lot bigger than I, and I bigger than some, should we be more responsible in how we respond? Yes, absolutely. We don't make it a point to send bullying and harassment their way. Criticism is exactly that. But then when it came from people closest to you, iilluminaughtii, you didn't do that because you'd worked with them, you knew them intimately, they knew you intimately. They've seen you at your best and your worst. So you sent cease and desists. And there are more of them. On the 6th of June 2023, Oz Media tweeted, "So iilluminaughtii has officially sent me a cease and desist. Best part is, she cites parts of videos which I had no part in and demands I make a public apology. And I haven't even made a video yet." The Click replied with, "After playing Minecraft, I thought you couldn't dig yourself past bedrock. I stand corrected." And from M, seems Triangle Karen is unfamiliar with the word accountability. Triangle Karen. Oh my god, M. You have earned a follow. I really like that comment. It's very funny. Hi, I'm Wonder had retweeted this with, and they just keep coming. Could just be me, but sending a cease and desist to the one person who has yet to release their video is highly suspicious. We won't be silenced. And it is suspicious. it gives off the impression of, I'm just going to blanket send these and not actually look at what anyone has said. Additionally, you had claimed to want to be more transparent, iilluminaughtii, but you are preventing others from having the same luxury. I mentioned this right at the end of my very first video on you. It does not show any level of transparency, it shows a level of, I'm going to silence the feck out of you guys. The problem you now have is, you clearly don't understand the internet or know how to internet, because if you did, you'd know we all have the screenshots and many of us have taken the liberty of archiving everything, downloading everything. I will admit I've archived quite a few tweets over this, including those from I'm Wonder, Ozmedia, Click, and so on, because it is right to have these sources forever remembered via systems that allow us to prevent the internet from being deleted. The point is, you boomer Karen, you have no right to tell people to not talk about things. They're not defaming you. They are showing all the screenshots that you've tried to edit, by the way. Don't forget here, in Discord DMs, you were called out by one topic at a time for amending editing Discord DMs to try and paint yourself in a better light. That was highlighted in his video. Others highlighted the issue as well. This shows damage control and it shows a form of premeditation. How can anyone prove something if it no longer exists the way that it has been framed? Instead of this rather narrow-minded, tunnel vision-induced form of defense, how about instead you just do the one thing you should have done from the offset? Say sorry to all of those you have misled. The fact you still think you're better and above it screams desperation. It screams arrogance. It's pride. It is pathetic. You should be above it. You should be better than it. But apparently, you are no better than those who have been annihilated by the court of public opinion before. That would include Creepshow Art, whose name has been mentioned so many times with you. You are one and the same at this point. You will continue to hemorrhage subs, you will continue to hemorrhage views, followers on every platform, patrons if you have any left. You will hemorrhage them for as long as you refuse to accept you did wrong. And you are now being outed by one of those that knew you most intimately, in the form of your ex-boyfriend. This is not a good look for you, and realistically the only path forward is an apology and to rebuild from there if you can. But the longer this goes on, which by the way it has gone on for far too long, the less likely it will be that you could even manage to rebuild. When a ship starts sinking, you don't make it a point to try and, let's say, blame it on other people, yeah? Oh, let me just throw out some legal papers while my boat is going down. No, you save it if you can. Your boat will sit next to the Titanic if you don't make a change soon. There is too much evidence out there now that shows you are in the wrong. The fact you can't see it speaks volumes about your personality, your character, your entire existence online. Years ago, I vaguely remember a number of YouTube creators that had incurred the ire of the court of public opinion, having live streams dedicated to them, so that while their subscriber count went down, people would try and see how close they could be, or get, to losing their play button. Some were fairly close to the silver one, and they did in fact lose enough to be under the 100,000, which led to many people saying, you should give back your silver play button. Spoiler, they did not. Because they earned it, everyone. Rarely have I seen someone lose 170,000 subscribers in a month to continue to hemorrhage in the following month, to a degree where I would believe it is possible they could get closer to losing their gold play button by the end of the year, but it's more than likely not going to happen in favor of people just no longer watching their content. In this, of course, we are talking about iilluminaughtii, who in May lost 170,000 subscribers and this month has lost close to 90. The month isn't over yet, so 100,000 is still possible, and based on the frequency of losing 10,000 subs, also highly likely. It is unlikely to stop anytime soon. Viewership of pretty much all content has dwindled to a level that is essentially 10 times less to what she was getting on these essay-style videos only a few months ago. If you need context as to what's gone on to get to this point, don't worry, I'll link part 1 and part 2 down below. I highly recommend, if you need to know, you watch those first, because we're going to continue the story as if you already know. That way I don't then have to talk about how she even dug the hole in the first place to get to where she was, for the fallout to continue as more creators spoke out and she tried to cease and desist them all, to where we are now, where she is losing everything. This has been handled poorly on every single level impossible by iilluminaughtii. The buck stops at you, the creator. Your decisions are an indicator of the level of ego you have, which can also be argued to be a complete lack of humility. Had you simply fessed up, there was a bigger chance of you getting through this semi-unscathed, with a reputation that would have shown you had a capacity to learn, improve, and be better. But since what you have done has gone on for so many years, I don't believe you have that capacity, akin to that of Sheldon Cooper having emotional range. So the first thing we have to talk about is an email between FPS Diesel and Cruel World Happy Mind, aka Madison, who gave greater detail in that email about what actually happened when, iilluminaughtii did the podcast thing, dunking on Cruel World Happy Mind after being accused of plagiarism. To an extent, plagiarism. It was very disingenuous of iilluminaughtii, and there's no way, based on how closely resembling the videos it was, that she didn't see her video or perhaps glean information from it. So Madison said, "Thank you for reaching out to me personally, though I never recorded the call and it was 2 years ago. Those the ones are inaccurate. I was newly pregnant at the time. My interactions with Blair took place extremely sick from the pregnancy. So that was a huge motivator to reach a solution with Blair so that I would have the stress of the drama making my condition worse. I forgot who offered first to do a private call. I believe Blair went on a tweeting rampage of sorts after my initial video calling her out, and was saying things I interpreted as angry things in the heat of the moment about someone she really didn't know. So I thought it would be better solved if we spoke on the phone, since oftentimes tonality can get lost in tweets or messages. We spoke on the phone for 2 hours or so. To be fair, overall it was a good call where Blair wasn't screaming at me or calling me names. Though she went into a lot of information that wasn't really necessary on the call, and I'm not sure why. She told me about the history she had with other content creators who tried to ruin her career, according to her. Said she had 6 other businesses apart from her channel. Consider that foreshadowing. Told me sensitive information about her own health and past health scares. At times it felt like she was trying to mentor me on the call. Sounds like a pissing contest. At times it felt like she wanted me to sympathize with her, and at times she made some vague threatening statements. I remember her specifically telling me that she knew the general location of where I live based off my Instagram posts, saying she would advise me to take those posts down, and also that because a random site wrote an article about me, and this site is basically a pay-for-view site or something like that it could look like I pay for my audience and that I should send that site legal warnings to get them to take it down. Basically, she would give me advice that had a threatening tone to it. I concluded during that call that it seemed to me like Blair has a tendency to fixate on a few specific people in the commentary world and feel a lot of hate and vitriol towards those people, especially if she felt they wronged her, as she kept mentioning a few commentary creators' names on the call, telling me not to speak with them and keep my distance with them. I decided during my pregnancy I wanted to steer clear of her and her world, so I decided to come to an agreement with her during the call to stop the drama and end any and all interaction I had with her on as good of terms as possible and as quickly as possible. So on the call she said in order to move on she would want what I said about her to be cut from my video and for me and her both to post statements on our channel about reconciliation. I did that, and eventually unlisted the entire drama video altogether, because I started to feel bad about the amount of attention it was getting. I didn't want my video to be the sole reason someone hates another creator. At that point, I still wanted to believe that Blair was going to grow as a person, and I was hoping my forgiveness would help her learn to let go and forgive others as well. Now, unfortunately, it seems Blair has not changed. The entire situation was very stressful at the time since I was in a really poor condition and extremely sick from my pregnancy. It made me take a step back and not want to reach out to other creators on YouTube as much, since I was so afraid of similar types of drama would start, or they would try to talk about me behind my back. I think toxic people like Blair create a competitive, cutthroat environment in the commentary space on YouTube, when it doesn't need to be like that. I've talked with people like I don't know who that is, Smoky Glower and Moneycat, who have been nothing but extremely nice and supportive, and I hope one day the entire commentary community can be like that. I don't know, maybe we can all stop putting up with toxic creators in this space who cultivate a negative environment. I also think the issue of copying is sort of a bizarre issue for commentary creators. When I first started out making videos on YouTube, I was so sensitive about my videos being copied, and looking back, I wasn't looking at things the right way, because everyone has a right to take inspiration from other content, as long as someone isn't copying content word for word or cites their sources. I think it's all part of the commentary life cycle. If creators start policing who is copying what, it could go down a straight road that limits creators' ability to be creative and draw inspiration from others. I think societally, we all know when copying goes too far. Someone says something word for word makes an identical thumbnail, but in the grand scheme of things, general inspiration for others does actually harm another content creator's brand, content, and identity. So I think focusing on it will only tarnish the commentary landscape. A very eloquent and polite way of articulating their perspective. Respectfully done as well. Now, I have held a very firm and consistent belief when it comes to YouTubers, sponsors, and their relationship. Do not go after the sponsors. I'm aware some will want to insert, yes, but what if this creator does this? But what if this creator does that? The relationship between sponsors and creators is tentative at the best of times. Some creators do develop an ego because they get a lot of offers. I get offers from the same crap, none of which legit, which is why you never see a sponsor in my videos. Which is a shame really, because I'm broke. Serious like, yo, Gibbs. The point still stands regardless, because it can harm other creators and their relationship with sponsors. It is a form of poisoning the well, a term I've used a lot of late along with reductio ad absurdum, which oddly enough fits here as well. On Twitter, ENVTuber tweeted to StitchFix, "Hello StitchFix, it has come to my attention that you are sponsored with a YouTuber named iilluminaughtii. Details are in the videos and the replies, but the TLDR is that she has harassed multiple people with alt accounts, made someone homeless and made fun of his mental health." StitchFix replied, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. The actions of this creator do not align with StitchFix values. We have stopped all advertising on their platforms. Thank you again for flagging." To add to this, we now insert ExpressVPN, who should also reach out to me. I will promote for money. Hey, I like to reach out about a YouTuber that abuses their employees and is in other scandals. Their name is @iilluminaughtii. I don't think you should give a sponsor to someone that if there's an email to reach you, I'll be happy to provide evidence and talk with a representative. Reply, I can share that while we worked briefly with this influencer earlier in the year, we are no longer working with them. Now that could be an indicator that they'd already severed ties anyway, because the working relationship had come to a mutual parting, as it were. Or perhaps they saw this early enough and decided, screw you guys, we're out. I've also been led to believe that a candle company that she and her sister ran, called Nox and Vesta, is that it? She is no longer associated with her sister running it instead. In fact, a candle the company makes is named after her dog, called Casper. As I was unable to find any confirmation of this, it's more speculative, okay? So let's swerve and go to OzMedia on Twitter. The iilluminaughtii sent a physical cease and desist to my dad's address as well, one I haven't lived at in 3 years, which she would know if I still lived in the house we shared. Trying to scare my dad? You're forcing my hand here, something I initially didn't want to do. Reply, as if she didn't know you already got it considering she stalks you guys on Twitter. She seeks nothing but to paint the world red. If Blair were actually trying to get us back, this ain't how to do it. So the final thing we need to discuss comes courtesy of a video via CB2. A video titled, Exclusive. iilluminaughtii finally responded. Reason why is because on a Patreon only server, some messages are only accessible to patrons. They took one for the team, paid the $5, and got access to these messages from Blair. And I thought we'd quickly look at that now. I'll link CB2's channel down below, by the way. They have an entire playlist with a lot of videos covering all of this. I firmly believe in less is more, but my judginess can be buried for a moment in favor of gratitude that somebody got these messages. The first screenshot comes from the 17th of May. It's the 27th of June today. We're a little bit, behind. Hey, everyone. I just want to write to say thank you to everyone who's been here and hanging on. I know it has been difficult, to say the least. I'm working on things behind the scenes, but those things take time. Due to unalive threats and or those threats nearly every day at this point, anyone that does that is a dickhead and you should be off the internet. Seriously, don't do that. I'm pulling back a little bit to just not have a meltdown every day. I'm sorry for being inactive and not chatting much. I'm scared every day I wake up and every night when I go to sleep. I've left my house behind trying to hide, and I'm in contact with police officers every day and attorneys. There is a team of Prospero behind me assembling to stop this. But these things take time and they won't be able to happen if something happens to me, unfortunately. And in this day and age, well, you never know what threat is a effed sort of joke and what's real. Online, you can't convey tone without a voice. So if it's in text form, you can never be certain. Shocker, I know. And I'm not really ready to make that gamble with my life. I'm spending a lot of time with electronics in airplane mode and only coming online when I need to be. Otherwise, everything is off. I'm trying what I can to stay sane through insanity. It's clear my public voice holds no weight. so I will take my voice to a level playing field with real-world consequences for the actions people have taken against me. Yes, I want to be transparent, but no one else is allowed to be, because only my voice will matter in this setting. I am scared, I feel incredibly alone and hurt, but things will get better. I will try my best to make it better for everyone. Just thank you all for being here, and thank you for seeing past manufactured drama for other people's financial gain. I hope to see my day of resolve soon. The problem iilluminaughtii has is all the evidence has been laid bare in the court of public opinion, and they've made their decision. You have chosen to ignore it because you believe yourself better than it. Simply be accountable, because you cannot prove yourself innocent now. I'm sorry, it's too late. You know this. And silence those who have an opinion and a voice and fact and evidence against you, because you believe by taking it to a courtroom, that will solve it. The problem is, the well's been, well, tarnished. It's too acidic now. Your channel is done. The only chance you have is rising from a form of ashes like Death Noodles has, where he has taken the place of Tipster as respected within the commentary community, something which you no doubt think yourself above. Another post from Blair. Hey everyone, sorry for the mass ping, but I was wondering if anyone would be interested in a low-key movie day tomorrow. Oh, you do movie nights? So do I. With top dollar patrons who are watching Hannibal. It's very exciting. Now, someone had inquired about doing a video, making a statement or something. If not, don't worry. I'm a teeny channel because, you know, sometimes it helps to clear the air. Blair said, I'll pass, and I would just let the mess be. It'll be cleared up in time. Now, I do think Blair has a better chance of clearing her name in the court of public opinion if she is actually present. Rather than having all the videos that were on standby uploaded, put out a public statement and apologize. The problem with that is the point of acceptable apology time has expired. It's like a friend zone thing. I generally think anything longer than 72 hours and the apology is no way sincere, carries no weight of, well, meaning, really, beyond that of the insincere and solely done as damage control. Don't forget here, the shitty behavior you only acted upon to silence those that criticized you, the people you hurt, by the way, scorned, by trying to get them out of the equation altogether. You tried to bury their heads in the sand, so you could stand tall and carry on as if nothing happened. As far as I'm concerned, that is remarkably disingenuous, and I don't believe you have anyone around you telling you what you need to hear. So try this. You need to apologize to each of those people and listen to them first. In a public setting, listening to them and understanding the problems you have put them through could well lead to a chance at a future for you on YouTube. Or you bury your head in the sand, wait a couple years and carry on and hope that people come back to you. Or you go to court and embarrass yourself even further. What a novel idea. Especially when you then will undoubtedly try and sue them for defamation and try and get damages out of them, which will make you look even crappier. On that same Discord server, there are some mods defending rather inappropriate behavior towards those that are young. They are fobbing it off as if people are just conspiring to bring down the server with clandestine operations. Okay, CB2 has an entire video on that. It does not paint iilluminaughtie's Discord in a very good light. If your way of responding to an accusation that people on that server or some individuals on that server are acting inappropriate towards those that are quite young by essentially fobbing it off as trolling, things like that, while you claim you don't condone, are undermined by your essentially fingers in ears la 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 thing. Hello everyone, Future Meg here. This part's going to be quite short because my microphone is dead and I'm on a backup microphone. Very sorry about that. I thought what I'd do is quickly give you a brief rundown of what she's been up to since this all happened, because we've heard nothing about the lawsuit. The channel of iilluminaughtii is making content on a regular, but whereas before video views averaged about 250,000 views are now closer to 25,000. It had been speculated that the reason for videos still existing or being pumped out, including the ones that got her into trouble, were entirely because of contracts with sponsors, which I do tend to believe there is a possibility that that is true. I also believe that the reason for the frequent activity in upload is because one is trying to rebuild. At this point, I'm not convinced it is possible, but it could still be possible to remain a creator going forward, of course. The channel iilluminaughtii has not been removed. I thought if I put all three videos together, perhaps I'd have a greater source of information in the future if I do a Where Are They Now, should anything transpire in the future concerning iilluminaughtii. Of course, at this point there's no guarantee, and it could just become a massive sinkhole for wasted money on all sides when a lawsuit is introduced to it. especially when, in the court of public opinion, along with all the evidence that is publicly available, iilluminaughtii does not look remotely innocent in anything. When it comes to all the things iilluminaughtii has been demonstrably proven to have done, there isn't really a path back that involves success. While the loss of subscribers has slowed, people realise you don't need to unsubscribe to punish somebody, you just stop watching them when their credibility is well and truly shot. And that applies here. I should though state with regards to the legal aspect of this, Oz Media has set up a GoFundMe to assist with housing fund and legal fees because Blair is attempting to take Oz Media's home. Oz Media also put out a video talking about the time living with iilluminaughtii. Essentially, she was a mess. That's the heavily reduced version because, shocker, lazy person, relies on team to make channel big, is also lazy IRL. Additional information though, the GoFundMe collected on the 26th of August around 4.1k, which was collectible despite the GoFundMe being taken down. However, a considerable amount of that at that point was on hold. On the 27th of August, that GoFundMe was back up. And this is because on August the 25th, somebody had falsely reported the GoFundMe, which forced it to be taken down. I get some people, not many, but some people want to simp for their senpai, but employing such crappy tactics to do so only makes your senpai, or even the senpai doing it themselves, look worse. Because the internet does very much operate with guilt by association, and in some instances guilt until proven innocent. In this though, with all the evidence out there, there is no innocence to be had for iilluminaughtii. So is it really worth all the hassle knowing that it's just digging a deeper hole for somebody who may as well go the way of creepshow art? If this is a last desperate attempt by somebody to force transparency, which is what Blair claimed she was attempting to do with legal action, whilst simultaneously cease and desisting everyone involved so they couldn't speak on it, so only her voice could be heard, taking away or trying to take away someone's home at the same time, seems like another weak-tea attempt and tactic to silence a voice that runs contrary to her. Yet this person is different, because they had photo evidence to back up a lot of what he said about Blair. The bad optics involved with the bad tactics is quite tragic. The plan would be, if there is any more that transpires between now and Christmas, a Where Are They Now in December. So this video serves as a compilation so I don't have to feature it in a Where Are They Now later in the year. Thank you.